What is the cringiest thing you have done to get a crush's attention? Story number 1. Ninth grade, last day before Christmas break, there was a girl on the school bus who was once into me earlier in the year but had not cooled off for some reason. I needed to get the fire going again. So I was going to bring mistletoe on the bus, pull it out of my backpack at some point, and be like, oh yeah, this stuff grows everywhere. I was just picking some of it this morning, while I was waiting for the bus. And that's all. What I was hoping for was that she would get the nerve to kiss me, since I was holding mistletoe. Well, mistletoe grows high up in the tree, so I cut off a piece of holly and trimmed the thorns off of it because who really knows what mistletoe looks like anyway. So I'm sitting on the bus, she's sitting behind me, and I'm working up the nerve. Then the bus stops, this guy gets on and immediately proceeds to give this girl a rose, and she gets excited and hugs him. And I'm sitting there with a trimmed holly branch in my backpack. Story number 2. When I was about 15 or 16 years old, I went on a family holiday with my mom and sister to Italy. We were staying in a hotel with a shared swimming pool, and there were a few other families with kids of similar ages all hanging around. I used to see this girl, roughly my age or maybe a couple of years older, pretty much every day by the pool. Blonde hair, nice body, just basically gorgeous. I think because she smiled at me a couple of times. I convinced myself that she must be the one, and due to boredom, this was before smartphones, the internet, I spent basically the whole week gearing myself up to go and talk to her. I spent days just thinking of ways I could approach her, what to say, building up courage. It was the most important thing in my life at that moment, but was difficult. Because she was always around her family, or I was around mine, there never seemed to be an opening. Then, right at the end of the holiday, the perfect moment presented itself. I was by the pool alone, she was by the pool alone. This was my time, this was everything. It all comes down to this moment. So, what's it going to be? Am I going to be a man and approach her, or spend the rest of my life in turmoil, wondering what might have been? So I walked up to her, I smile, she smiles, I say hello, she looks confused, I say hello again, she still looks confused. Hi? Nope, that didn't work either, this is going horribly, why did I do this? Please let me be hit by a sniper right now. Why is there never a sniper? I asked her if she wanted a drink because, of course, if she can't understand a basic hello in English, then a full sentence was definitely the best way to proceed, and she looked even more confused. I think during this whole exchange, which felt like 2 hours but was in reality only about 26 seconds, she had only said the word "a" with a mixture of bewilderment and pity. So, I walked to the bar, bought 2 lemonades. I wasn't old enough to buy anything a little more suave, and walked back over to her. I mean, I'm invested at this point, right? No point in backing out now, otherwise I would have just made a total fool out of myself, for absolutely no reason. I place her lemonade down next to her, she says, thanks, so she did speak English, the f***ing liar, and I swagger away feeling like James Bond. Until I dropped my glass, which smashed into tiny pieces, most of which went into the pool, which then had to be evacuated, while the staff cleaned glass out of it. And I got told off by the lifeguard right in front of her and her family, who had since returned and were all staring at me. Hit me up if you need advice on how to approach the ladies, fellas. Story number 3. Back in high school, I had an absolutely massive crush on a boy in my English lit class. Let's call him Jim. So, what did I do? Did I initiate a conversation to ask if he wanted to go to a movie with me? Of course not. That would require rational thought, which my hormonal, romantically starved brain was completely incapable of. Instead, I decided to write Jim a, get ready for this, Harry Potter fanfic. In the story I was, smack in the face obviously, Ginny, and he was Harry, yes, really. I actually handed him this masterpiece of literature in class. With a quick, here this is for you, blushing a nice deep shade of red, I realized my mistake almost immediately, but short of yanking it out of his grasp. And I was really considering it, it was too late to do anything. After that I made it my mission at school to avoid seeing him as much as possible. There was no eye contact and definitely no conversation. There's a happy ending to this story, though. I actually started dating Jim a year after high school. We have been married for 9 years now. He still has the story. Whenever he wants to tease me, he will bring it out and read it. I still turn a beautiful shade of tomato red, just like I did 14 years ago. Story number 4. For some reason or another, I have been bragging about my ability to spit a watermelon seed with deadly accuracy, the young woman to whom I had made these claims, which probably should have sent her sprinting in any direction other than toward me, challenged me to hit her textbook as a show of this alleged skill. I'd like to mention that I did not tell her to stand directly in front of me. Anyway, my first shot went wide, sailing far off to the girl's left. She said something akin to, "Ha," and took to lightheartedly berating me for overblowing the scope of my abilities. As she was speaking, I fired my second shot, and against all odds, it landed directly in her mouth. Needless to say, we were both shocked, and in an effort to evoke some humor from the situation, I said something to the effect of, "Well, hey, since we've sort of kissed already now, want to make it official?" Just in case you were wondering, it's definitely not the best idea to suggest tonsil hockey when your intended paramour is already suppressing gags. Story number 5. A female friend of mine, to whom I was admittedly attracted, had been expressing her reservations about an upcoming vacation with her family, though it wasn't being overtly presented as such. The trip was meant as a way of re-solidifying her parents' marriage, which had been a touch rocky at the time. They would all be driving from San Francisco, which is a small town in the middle of absolutely nowhere in Northern California, where they'd stay at a bed and breakfast inn for a weekend before continuing northward for some unknown destination. In keeping with the alleged purpose of this so-called vacation, my friend's parents had booked her rooms at the inn. To her dismay, though, my friend discovered that her mother would be occupying one room, her father would have the other, and that she and her sister would each have to bunk with one of their parents. This was worthy of lament on its own, but it was made unforgivably worse by the verbal diarrhea that I offered in an attempt at providing comfort. "It won't be so bad," I told my friend. "Your father will probably enjoy sleeping with you." A moment passed before I realized what I had said. Then, with a feeling of growing horror, I tried to explain myself. "Wait, I didn't mean it like that," I hurriedly said. "I mean, like, he's probably sick of sleeping with your mom." "No, wait, I just mean that he wants to spend some quality time with his daughter." If I had stopped there, I might have been able to salvage the situation, but as it happened, I decided that the best course of action would be to keep talking. "I can't say that I blame him. Really, I'd love to sleep with you. She and I don't talk much these days.